What's up, nerds? Welcome back. Today I'm talking about Teen Titans Academy number 11, a book that has a cover that is intentionally misleading because, contrary to what it says, Red X is not revealed in this issue. So, we've had this just ongoing debacle with all kinds of stuff and the wasted potential of what this book could have been, but instead it's devolved into whatever the hell it's trying to be now. So, we're just going to continue with, where we're at. I don't remember what Raven and Donna Troy are talking about right here. And no, I'm not going to reread it, not even for your viewing pleasure, because I know how much you like it when I drone on about this dialogue. Anyway, so we're just going to come back to the actual problem here. Because anyway, that was a flashback from yesterday. It's not important. So we have this where Dane, Nevermore, whatever the hell he's calling himself, and Red X show up after they were just, kind of after they encountered Neron and shit like that, and we see where the dead kids are still there. Anyway, so we see where Diego, the little kid who has the H dial or whatever the thing, he's there with them also. And apparently Donna's telling him, like, I told you not to come to school today, and he says, heroes don't run, Miss Troy. And it's like, well, dude, you have to use a device for you to become a hero, so whatever. So that's when Flash and other Flash and disabled Flash all show up for some reason. They just show up there. I guess I don't know if little Wallace West went and warned them. But I don't know. Anyway, or I guess maybe Alinta went and I don't know, dude. And another thing, like he's calling them Wallace and Alinta. Like you could call them Kid Flash and Bolt, since apparently that's the name that she decided to go with. And that's not what he's doing. So I was like, okay, yeah, they just show up and he tells them to run while I guess he's just going to stand there and watch them do the job. So they try to run at this like force field or whatever. They're not able to get through it. So Wally comes up and says, "I've seen this before. It's an electromagnetic field with chaotic phase variance." Whatever the hell that means. And then he says, "Not even we can get through." So Alinta's like, "Well, what device can do that?" And Donna, like looking just forlorn, says, "No device," because obviously it's magic. So and that's when they see that like the force field starts to kind of like shrink, and they're saying like it's concentrating on Dane. And Red X says, "You can't penetrate the field. You can't touch him. Just go." And then Nightwing has to ask him like, "Why are you doing this? Dane needs help." He's like, "Help? Is that what you call it?" And Starfire's like, "Call what?" So he just says, "I won't let you end it," because he's kind of surmised like, oh, they're gonna try and kill him. So he says, "I won't let you kill one of your students," like I said. So this is when we get another flashback to 2 months ago. And I guess this was their cheeky way of saying, see, we did reveal him because he's not wearing his costume here. But we don't actually see him or who he's talking to. They're just like covered in shadows and shit. And basically there's just this back and forth between the two of them where he's basically saying like, why do we have to keep like playing it out like the long way or whatever? He says, just seems like a stupid move in this case, even for them, to which his mysterious benefactor says, they don't know what we know. He's like, that's not really a crime, is it? So he says, you're starting to sound like him. Who he's referring to, we have no idea. And it says, was it a mistake sending you in there undercover? You haven't defected, have you? He's like, well, I haven't forgotten why I'm there. What I have to do. It's just, why is it taking so long? I'm sick of this stupid Phantom of the Opera routine. We all are. And then his mysterious benefactor says, but you played it so well, keeping the Titans on notice, on edge, while we wait for Nevermore's process to start. It's the one piece we can't control. So he's like, I bet I could get him to pop off early. He's like, well, I have eyes on you all the time or whatever. So this is where he asks him, like, well, why did you reveal your identity to the Bat Kids or whatever? Like, what was even the purpose of that? To which he tells him, like, well, they were sniffing around, they were getting closer, and it worked, right? It bought me some extra time, and they left me alone. So that was all that I needed it to do. He says, they left you alone because you went off the grid, as I instructed. He's like, yeah, well, now I'm back on the grid, and I don't need you looking over my shoulder. To which he just says, like, fine, just remember, the writers are nothing compared to the great unkindness The Great Unkindness. That is like the least menacing name I've ever heard. It's like the big meanie. You know what I mean? Like it's the Great Unkindness. Anyway, and it's killing Dane that leads to her creation. Protect the host until he unleashes the so-called apocalypse. And then with the boy on our side, we'll pick them off one by one. The riders and anyone else who stands in our way, including the Titans. So Red X is telling him like it's going to take a lot more than some aging sidekicks to get past me. And then we see where Roy is starting to evacuate everybody, which is pretty convenient because he just came back to life. I don't even know if he actually knows like the layout of this tower because it's not the same one that he was in when he was a kid. So I don't, whatever. So he's leading the kids to safety and everything, and then we see where where Chupacabra is there. Like I said, all of these characters that they semi-introduce that have not meant anything at all, and especially not right now, because they aren't really doing much of anything except trying to run away. Well, there are a few of them doing stuff. We'll see. Anyway, we see where Brat Girl, the one who has like her hair made to look like Batman's ears, one of the Bat Pack, yeah, she's there, and then the other girl, I can't remember what the hell her name is. Does it matter? The one wearing the headscarf, that one, I can't remember her name, and it doesn't really matter because they've never done anything. Anyway, apparently they have some other plan where they're not going to run away, they're going to go probably the opposite direction for some reason. Anyway, so they're still trying to escape. Red X is saying, I swear I'll strike this whole tower to the ground if you take one more step. And then Starfire is trying to calm him down by saying, like, look, no one's here to kill anyone. And Donna, my girl, decides to be the queen bitch and be like, and isn't there just one murderer here? To which Starfire's like, Donna, because if you remember, he killed Simon. And so he even says, Simon isn't dead. People like you never stay dead. Well, I mean, you talked to Neron, who's from hell, who said that Simon was there. Now, granted, Neron could have just been lying to fuck with him, but I'm pretty sure he's actually in hell. Anyway, so he's saying, well, Cyborg is telling him, like, we're nothing like Simon. He's, like, telling him, like, I told you I would take down the whole tower, like, step back. He says, you have no idea how powerful I am. And then Raven tries to yell at him and tell him, like, stop, you don't know what's going on, you don't know what's about to happen if you don't let us stop this. And he says, I do. Do you, Miss Raven, or do your premonitions leave out the unkind, there's that word again, details? So I don't know, maybe she's supposed to be one of the part of the great unkindness. Maybe she's the big meanie. Anyway, so they try to like attack him, and then he brings down like a whole bunch of energy. Raven tells them like everybody converge on me, and then I guess she protects them because we see where he apparently had that much power where he called down fucking Thor's lightning and caused the whole damn like he called it over from the Marvel universe into the DC universe to take down Titan's tower. That right there is power, y'all. Anyway, so we see that Nightwing on some total Batman energy is just there like, is that all you got? And then he tries to like come at him, which was stupid because he immediately just like swats him away like a fly and shit. And then we see where Roy is still trying to help out the students. And Starfire says, with that much energy, how is the tower still standing? To which Beast Boy is like, well, don't look a gift horse in the mouth, Star. The longer we hold the line, better. And then we see where they're saying, like, I can't hold it any longer because basically these are the ones holding it up. It's that girl Tress, the one with the long hair, Gorilla Greg, Gorilla Grodd's nephew, and then everybody's favorite non-binary quilted American, what's her name, Stitch. He was also helping to like hold it up with her magic powers, basically saying like, we have to hold it up, like help is on the way and everything like that. Like it's what we have to do. And what she's saying, like, I hope. And then we see the Titans are still standing there, to which they're like, where are they? They'll be here, all of them, it says. And then we see where, yeah, they're all still running away. And finally, here's another character we haven't seen in like a long time since the DC Pride anthology. Well, actually, no, I think he's been in one or two issues of this. Anyway, Bunker. I love that character. And he is not used at all for any purpose except for random shit like this, where he shows up just to kind of like be support. So anyway, he's helping the kids get out and everything. And then, what's his name? Tubi? Is that Tubi? No, this is, the other one. The fat blue one. What's his name? Oh, who cares? Anyway, so he's standing there asking, like, Stitch, like, is everybody out? Like, how's it going and everything? And Stitch has these projections where she's saying, like, yeah, that's everybody. And I'm going to be honest with you. Things are not looking good. So we can see where they're still struggling to hold shit up right as, like, this giant tidal wave comes about because the Rock of Eternity just fell like literally right next to the tower. So that's when we see Shazam and fake Black Adam who get out, and they're here just in time. Now here's another thing. If you remember, I did reviews. I don't remember if I did a review for the last issue of Shazam, but if you remember that Shazam miniseries, Freddy was in the hospital and Mary was saying it didn't look good, and then we never had much of an actual, any resolution to that I can recall. So it wasn't satisfying if there was. But yeah, all of a sudden now Freddy is here and he has somewhat of a cough. But anyway, since The Rock is back, they're all like, you know what, we need to help, we need to do what we can. So they all get together and say, Shazam. So they're getting ready to go and do their thing. But we don't actually see them do anything besides that. And then we see where Red X is asking, like, what did you do? And then that's where they're saying, basically, with all of the power that you just called down, we were able to bring the Rock of Eternity here. So that's why it landed right here. And then it says, thanks for giving our old girl a boost, like a drink of water in the desert. And then fake Black Adam, who's going by the name of Teddy, is like, I heard a lot about you. I heard you were quite the Hellraiser X. So that's where they start, like, fighting in the background and shit. As Shazam is talking, as Captain Marvel, and I'm bringing that up for a specific reason. He says, he walks up to Raven, he's like, well, she says, this is new. None of my visions showed me anything like this. You did it. He's like, we did it. And now we've got a shot at saving the future, maybe more. So we see where Teddy's over there like, oh, Bill, like, whenever you're ready, I could use some help. So he's like, all right, yeah, I'm coming. He says he's right. It's time to say goodbye. And then Nightwing is saying, like, well, there's no need. We're going to see you again. He's like, no, you really won't. The Rock's the one prison that can hold the 4 riders of the apocalypse. But that's only if Teddy and I stand guard for the foreseeable future. And Teddy's 1,000,000 years old, so he can foresee a lot of future. I just want to say before we go, no matter what you feel when all this is over, I'm telling you, and here's the biggest lie of the whole damn issue. Teen Titans Academy was absolutely the right thing to do. No, Teen Titans Academy was absolutely the wrong thing to do. This went wrong. This went off the rails from the second issue. All of this was bad. Bad. Anyway. So he's saying, like, it still is. So many kids need this place. Well, I mean, the whole building is about to get destroyed. Well, let me not spoil the ending. He says, so all that's left is to thank you. I think I've done all the growing up I'm ever going to do, and the path for me now leads away from this tower. So that's where, again, Teddy's yelling, like, Bill, let's go, or whatever. So they go and they give him hugs. They give him their final farewells. And then he tells Nightwing, Dane's scared, Billy. He needs guidance. Just listen to him. He tells him, I know what to do. I had great teachers, to which Nightwing just does one of these. So I guess he has regrets, like he doesn't feel like he was a good teacher, and I guess he probably wasn't the best. Anyway, so he says, all right, Grampy, we'll get you out of here and back to your WW2 talks, World War II docs, and cable news in no time. And he's like, I don't watch the news, Sonny, I make the news, as he continues to, like, fight with Red X and shit, and he even gives him, whoa, like, just stop it. Anyway, so this is where he goes and he starts talking to Dane and everything. He, like, walks into his little force field, and Dane is telling him, like, I didn't ask for this. I was basically born this way. Chill out, Lady Gaga. But anyway, he's saying, like, I was born this way. I was brought into this world literally just to end it. So he's like, there's no other, like, way to do this. And then he even asks him, like, so how are you going to do it? And he's like, do what? How are you going to kill me, dude? He says, that's why you're here, right? And then Billy tries to kind of lighten the mood by saying, like, hey, you remember when I tried to mac on that demon's daughter, and then you showed up and went all Ghostbusters librarian on them? He's like, yeah, that was crazy. So that's where he tells him, like, look, Dane, you saved my life. I'm trying to save your life. So he says, so I got the Rock back. Place is pretty tricked out. It's infinite. Like, basically anything you could ever want is there. Yeah, I've seen Doctor Who. I know it's like the TARDIS. Anyway, he says there's a cafe and a cranky young caretaker who may or may not be Black Adam for some reason. To which Dane says, sounds nice. If I wasn't busy birthing the bringers of the apocalypse, I'd love to check it out. And then he tells him, I promise you, when this process you're going through is finished, as long as you, me, and Teddy are in the Rock, these 4 writers will never bother anyone again. And he says, like, yeah, that's assuming that I survived the process. To which he says, you're going to be fine. I know it, Dane. We're not going to leave you. And then, again, Teddy comes to tell him, like, yeah, we need to go, like, now. So he tells him, okay, Dane asks him, like, how do we do it? And he's like, oh, that's the easy part. Just say my name. And he's like, Captain, no, the other one. So Apparently he has to say Shazam. But I do think that was hilarious that he knew that the name was Captain Marvel. But anyway, I know that was a cheeky little like reference for us, the fans, to kind of like laugh at or whatever. But still, I was just like, see, even the fictional characters know. Anyway, so we see where it works. He says Shazam, and they basically like teleport out of there and shit. And then everybody's standing around like, we did it. Like, we're safe. It's over or whatever. But of course, Red X is like, no, I don't think that we're safe. So that's where they try to keep getting the kids out, which I thought all the kids had already left, but I guess just the ones that were with them. Anyway, so she teleports them out as, like I was saying, the damn building just like explodes. And that's where it leaves off for right now. So like I said, once again, no reveal. Still left blue balled on the red X, and isn't that just the DC way? So, what can I say? What can I say that I haven't already said about this particular book? This is just... There was so much potential with the Teen Titans, like just the title, Teen Titans Academy. It could have been something really cool. It could have been much more like a Young Justice type of thing where it's just a new generation of heroes coming into their own, possibly learning. Like, I don't know if anybody ever watched the cartoon Tiny Toons. It could have been something like that, where basically you have a younger generation learning from the older generation. And I mean, it's learning about how to be what they want to be, what they're going to be, what we obviously know they're going to turn into. It could have just been that, but instead they tried to go for like first this whole like who is Red X thing, and then they committed to basically never telling us. And then there's just all of this other stuff that has to basically just deal with the Titans. It's like if you wanted to tell a Titan story, put that book out. But you want to tell a Titan story while you also just have some other younger heroes not really ever doing anything. So this is just, and like they're not even involved in any of this. Like most of the time they're training, they're running from a threat. Like they're never doing anything. It's the main Titans who are constantly doing shit. So I'm like, and even that could be fine. That the older Titans are trying to like handle this on their own. If you also had a contingent of the students who are trying to figure this shit out on their own, and we saw their stories balanced with the older Titans, but we don't. All we get are like that scene with like the brat girl and whatever the hell the other one's name was, where they were like, "Oh, we're gonna sneak off this way while everyone's going that way." Okay, why? And we never saw anything from that later. I'm assuming probably like 4 or 5 issues from now, we'll find out where they went and what they were doing. But it didn't contribute anything here. It was just annoying. So that's why I'm saying there was potential here. There were plenty of ways that this could have been done better if they had actually put thought into it. If they had remembered that the book is called Teen Titans Academy, not the Titans trying to hide some shit from some kids. Like that is all that has basically happened here. So I don't know. I don't know where this is going to go next. I don't even know if I'm going to continue picking it up. I had dropped it for a minute when they went into that like Gorilla Grodd storyline. I was like, nah, I'm out. And then they came back with the well, I basically mostly came back because they brought back Roy Harper. So I was like, okay, let me see what happens with that. And it looked like maybe it's going to get back to something, but then I should have known better. I really should have. And it didn't get into anything better, and it's continuing to get worse. So I really have no one else to blame but myself, is the long and short of it. But yeah, I think that's about all of the ranting I can do on this particular book. So I'm going to go ahead and end it here. If you enjoyed the video, make sure that you like the video. If you have thoughts, share them with me. You know the appropriate place to do so. If you are not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. If you don't have notifications on, turn them on so that way you know when I have new videos coming, especially because I've been much more sporadic lately. I'm going to try... I always say I'm going to try to get to a more regular schedule, and then life. So we'll see what ends up happening. But yeah, do all of that stuff. If you would like to share the video, you know I appreciate it. I always do. So do that if you also feel so inclined. And if you're done here, then go and read a book. But if not, then I'll see you on my next video.